Welcome back to Anchor Designs. I'm James, and today we're going to be looking at these, which, let's just put one aside for now. This is going to be a circle router jig, specifically designed for the Makita DRT50, which is the cordless 18 volt router, mini trim router. But I've got to say, excellent bit of kit, fantastic, very, very nice. Not here to talk about this today. I don't want to get into a review of something like this. Typically, if it's blue and it's got Makita written on it, it's usually pretty good, apart from the corded angle grinders, but I'll get into that another time. So, the topic of discussion is this, which is why you clicked on this link. So, this is some 3mm aluminium. This was drawn up on Fusion 360, and here is a little bit of footage of me on the PC working this out. Now, you'll kind of get the configuration of this, but I did have some issues if you're going to try and replicate this or do one for your router. I had some issues with, in Fusion, with drawing these holes. Now, there's multiple ways of using Fusion. I use the set square holes. I'll put a screenshot up. It's this function that's put on the side. It's like the PCD function where you can set multiple holes and create offsets. So from this point here, the center point of where the router bit would typically go, to the end point here is 500mm. From this point to there, is going to be starting off in 10mm increments. Now, they have to select the central point, so from center diameter, from center of the diameter of these points here, then to offset them, because you can set them from this point to the center point. Hope that makes sense. It probably doesn't, but if you've done this, then you probably know what I'm talking about. This is typically router jigs that I've seen on Amazon. A, are pretty expensive, and B, look pretty, I don't know, pretty crappy. This is purpose built, so a general rule of thumb is anything purpose built for a job is going to be the best thing for doing that job. So you can get router jigs that are multi-surface. You can put them on different pieces and locations, etc., etc., for different routers with slots and different adapter kits and things like that. I didn't really want to do this. I'm not making these for production environment. I'm not making these to sell on and flog on the local market. This is something for me, and if you've got a similar router, it might give you a little bit of an idea. So, why have I done this? If you look at other routers, other router jigs, you typically get one singular slot in the middle here, and you'll have it'll be slightly thicker construction, and you'll have like a T-nut that sits on the top with a little pointy bit on the end. If you've ever used a circle router jig before, which I have, I've made a really basic one for a particular job. What I sort of tend to find is that you've got to really tighten those up, and kind of didn't really work. And I've got a job coming up that's for my next project, actually, that I wanted to have a circle router jig, but I needed it to be really solid, because I'm going to be cutting in some pretty hard wood. And yeah, I looked on eBay and I looked on the Amazon ones that you can buy, and they're usually at a range between 20 quid for something that looks really pants and made out of plastic, or you go right at the other end of the scale and you're probably about 60-80 pounds for one of those T-nut things with a little point on it. So yeah, doesn't really do it for me. So with the power of Fusion, some time and a few cups of tea, I drew this up in CAD. So these are 4mm hole sizes, which is just for a standard 4mm screw. So you can screw these into your workpieces. This is going to clamp down on here, and it's going to, well, I feel it's a lot more secure. So after I had made the drawing, I then got it cut at my local laser cutters. Here is some footage of the laser and how this was cut out, which I think might be of interest to you, which is here.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so it's pretty amazing what you can do with a bit of light, bit of software, bit of gas, bit of know-how, bit of magic. So no, it's pretty exciting. So from probably about a 12-hour turnaround from me measuring this, drawing this up, and then getting it cut, it's pretty impressive. Now, the big question of anything like this is always, well, how much does it cost you? I don't typically like to discuss costings, but as a rough general rule of thumb, one of these cost me 20 quid, which, you know, it is purpose built. It did take me a bit of time to design this, but my time is free for me. So yeah, this cost me roughly around £20, which there is a little bit of a mistake on it, which I will show you. So how did I start off? I removed this panel here. I got some electronic calipers. These aren't verniers, they're electric calipers. And I started off by measuring the sides, the points. From the hole centre here, I worked out these holes here. I worked out from that datum point here to move that distance on the top. Then from that point there, I worked out how to go from there, etc, etc. Well, I actually mirrored it from that point there, so they'd be the same. Which worked out fine. And then I worked from the other side. And then from that point there, yeah, you can probably figure it out, to then start working out on the holes. Now, what I didn't really have much thought on, or it wasn't a concern, the big crucial side is getting these holes. What I didn't do is I just measured it from that side there, and they're actually offset in, which well, I should have known that really. It's a bit of a rookie mistake there. But the important bit is the mounting holes are, don't want to brag here, but yeah, pretty perfect. I think you can see that okay. And the outside profile is, I would say, pretty spot on. Very happy with that. So let's try the fit up here, which is going to be on this point here, and I'm going to notice all the holes match up fine, but these two screw holes here do not. They are incorrect. And I'm not actually sure what functions these have here. I think there's some sort of cam lock that goes into the top there. I'll take one out, see what happens. Nope, they are really tight. They must be in there for a reason, so I'm not going to take them out. What else have I done? This has come straight off the machine that you've just seen it. So we do have some burrs on the side here. The AD for Anchor Designs looks pretty spot on. This was used for some off-cut material, so there is surface scratches and a few little dings and marks, but that wasn't a problem for me. So we're going to deburr these holes. We'll use the drill press with a 45-degree countersink bit on there, just to get it started. So if you are using something like this on obviously wood, then you want the corners to be as blunt as possible, deburred as possible, whatever you want to call it. So let's get that done quickly and mount it up and file these holes out ever so slightly. Okay. So we're going to use one of these, which is a Swiss burr deburring tool. They're pretty expensive actually. I didn't buy this, I was given it, but I've had it for years. It lasted me a very, very long time. And these are really good at just taking off the edge of something. And it gives you a really satisfying little burr. It's just going to take off there, and it's not sharp anymore, which is quite good. Probably what I'll do off camera is just go around with a buffing wheel on the bench grinder and just deburr those. But it's mainly these internal holes where you're going to be quite close to the workpiece that's going to give you the issues. So with one of these tools right here, you can go inside or outside. And these come with a load of different blades, typically that you store in the handle. Yeah, so you've got, I think that one's actually for aluminium. I haven't used this in a long, long time. So let's see what that one's like. and they also extend out. Oh yeah, I've got loads. Oh yeah. Worth getting, not cheap, but yeah, definitely worth getting. So might be a nice bit of an option for you. So let's just take a closer look at the AD. Now this is completely not needed, but it's always good to, yeah, mark your work. I've spent time and effort doing this, so I put AD in there for the channel and for the benefit of looking awesome. Okay, enough faffing. Let's take a look at the error that I've done. So let's take a look. So this is the original base plate that you've got on here. As you can see, the holes and the parameter of the part line up very, very nicely. What doesn't, as we mentioned earlier, is those pieces there. So we're just going to get a scribing tool and use a file to take these back down. So that looks about right. Again, this isn't critical at all. It's, you know, it's not critical, so I'm not going to get too worried about this. It's for my own use. Okay, let's blow this out, make sure all the faces are clean, and we also need to countersink these for the original screws, but let's just double check everything fits, which it does. So let's countersink these points here and yeah, get it mounted and have a play. Okay, well, there's not a right or wrong way how to hold this, but I wanted it to be at the front here. I'm right-handed, and you operate the controls on this router here, so it does look backwards. But yeah, so I'm going to put it on what looks to be backwards, but I think that works a little bit better for me because, well, I'm right-handed and it's my router, so, you know. Okay, let's take a bit of a closer look. I've got to say, it's not very often, I shouldn't say this, but that I don't know, I actually make something and I don't know if the word's impressed, but yeah, I'm impressed with that. You know, that is, you know, you'd buy that. This face here, that looks really good. It fits very, very well. It's like a well-made glove, that is. Look at that. Yeah, sometimes I impress myself. So no, I'm pleased with that. That looks really, really good. And the holes are going to start off from that point there, which is a little bit close, but it's where the starting line was offset by 5mm. So I'm picking at straws here. So that's the original base plate. If I wanted to, I could technically mount that back on there, which might give you a little bit more or less, I don't know, surface damage. Not that I really think that this would. We've deburred it pretty heavily on here. It looks a bit weird, but no, I'm pretty happy with that. The beauty of it is, if you have got a hole, not that's going to fit in those holes, and it has to be an exact sizing, then you can always just drill this. It doesn't matter, it's a consumable end of the day. I did toy with the idea of cutting these slots in here. You saw with the footage, it wouldn't have really added much more process time because the machine is that quick. It's pretty amazing. But I wanted this to be as rigid as possible. I think having two slots, and if it's riding around in the back of your van or etc., then you're probably going to twist it and damage it. So this, I mean, that's not bending. Well, it's not permanently bending. That is strong. It's the right thickness, right grade of aluminium. Yes, very happy with that. So let's put it to the test. It looks pretty. Does it do pretty? Okay, I'm no expert in cutting out squircles with a router. This is some 18mm hardwood plywood. I've got a project coming up that is a industrial style stool, so I'm going to mimic that to maybe make a template. Okay, so I'll probably speed this up because you don't want to keep hearing me talk. Let's just get on with it. Okay, so I've measured the point of the router to this distance here, and you can go up to around 1 meter in full diameter, if that's what you wanted. So you add the distance of that between that and times it by 2, and that will give you your diameter. Yeah, I'm not calling you dumb, but I mean, I'm just telling you. So I'm going to go for, what's that? 110mm, which would be 220 on here. So I need to measure this from the center point. So that's roughly a square. That's roughly in the middle. So if I'm going to go around there, okay, well, I hope you can see that okay, but that worked really, really well. So I don't want to go too deep in this. I could cut the whole way through, but it's a circle. You get the whole idea. I don't want to get dust everywhere, and I haven't got a dust extractor. And yeah, so let's do another circle just so you can see. Let's go, if we keep that there, what we'll do, we'll get another screw, put it in that one, and then take that one out. So then that means that you're not going to move it. Let's go. That's pretty dumb. Okay. So we have to keep the same hole. Let's go. Okay. I'm pretty pleased with that. That looks a charm, doesn't it? Okay, let's take a look and see if we've damaged the surfaces at all. I don't think we have. But, well, we'll just take a closer look. Plywood's not the best because it does hide quite a bit. Okay. I can't see anything. But the router bit wasn't new, it was pretty old. It's been abused quite a bit. But no, that's pretty good. Nice and neat hole. It's not a nail in the middle. These holes are 4mm, so you get a really nice tight fit on here, which is really good. But this, I believe, is better than the little T-slot with a pin thing. Yes, you're going to have a hole in your workpiece, but I don't think there's kind of a way around that. Not that I can think of. But there you go. I'm not going to go all the way down because I'm already covered in sawdust. I kind of don't want to keep doing that, but you get the whole idea. But this will be in a really cool upcoming industrial stool. So if you want to see the action, it being used, subscribe and take a look out for my next video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you next time.